Welcome.
Good morning.
Welcome to Belgrade Online,
An online ministry of Belgrade Avenue United Methodist Church.
Welcome to Belgrade Online. I'm Dan, the video editor of Belgrade Online. Here are this week's announcements, followed by Dan's sermon and some music to brighten your day. Thanks again for watching Belgrade Online.
Hey everybody, Pastor Dan here. Hope you're all having a fantastic weekend so far, especially with all the snow flying already, but hopefully it's going to melt a little bit and we can have a couple more warm-ish days this week so we can have time to put up our Christmas lights on our house or do those last-minute outdoor winterizing things before the cold comes and stays. But hey, we are this morning beginning our Advent series, and we're kind of building off the Advent series of last year. Last year we did an Advent series called Christmas in Slo-Mo, and this year we're doing Christmas in Slo-Mo 2.0. And what that's all about is basically how to slow down. How are we going to live life a little bit slower this Christmas, a little less stressed, a little less fast-paced, and a lot more meaningful. And hopefully with a little less debt this year as well. So I hope that this is meaningful to you, because this is something that all of us need big time, especially in the holidays, to help it to be less stressful and more meaningful. So we're going to be talking about that. And then these Wednesday nights after each Sunday, Kent Calm's going to be doing a Bible study on Wednesday nights at 6 p.m. And there's supper at 5:30, so make sure you come to supper at 5:30. And 6 p.m. we're doing a Bible study, and that's called the Advent Conspiracy 2.0 as well. And we did the Advent Conspiracy Bible study last Advent as well, and that was hugely well received. And so they've updated the Bible study with new information and content, same topics, but new content. So we're going to be doing Advent Conspiracy 2.0 on Wednesday nights and Christmas and Slo-Mo 2.0 on Sunday mornings. And they kind of work together. So we'd like to invite you to that on Wednesday nights, 5:30 for supper, at 6 p.m. for discussion group. And then the last thing I'd love to let you know about is we're also looking for 3 more families to help light the Advent candle every Sunday morning from here on out. So if that's interesting to you, we'd love for you to be a part of that, be part of our service. So shoot us an email at baumc@baumc.org. And that's our office's email, and that will help you to sign up. And we hopefully we can fill that up this week. I will say that our Christmas Eve services this year, because Christmas Eve falls on a Sunday. So December 24th, Christmas Eve, we're going to have 2 Sunday services, 2 Christmas Eve services, one at 10 a.m. and one at 5 p.m. And they're going to be the exact same service. So you can choose which one you want to go to. Hopefully make Christmas Eve a little bit less chaotic, a little less easier for you this year. And with that said, I'm going to let you go ahead and enjoy this message this morning. Worship fully, Christmas and Slo-Mo 2.0. I hope it's helpful and I hope it's meaningful to you. Have a fantastic week. Grace and peace. We'll see you soon.
In this modern age, too many people have lost sight of the true meaning of Christmas.
Mom! Hush! Shut up, Ralphie!
So now, in the spirit of the original,
I need you! Stop!
traditional, American Christmas,
Thanks a lot!
MGM presents A Christmas Story.
Dashing through the snow
Uncle!
in a one-horse open sleigh. For the field we go, laughing all the way. Bells on bobtail ring, making spirits fly. What fun it is to ride and sing!
Ho, ho,
This sleigh's on tonight.
Fragile. That must be Italian.
I think that's Sister Fragile, honey.
A Christmas Story.
Come on!
The movie that pulls off Santa's beard. And unwraps the secrets
Didn't I get a tie this year?
of the original, traditional,
He looks like a deranged Easter bunny.
100% two-fisted, red-blooded,
It's smiling at me.
all-American Christmas. A Christmas Story.
Well, I love that movie. It's a great movie. But when I watch the trailer, the word that comes to my mind is stress. It's stress. You know, it's a great movie, but it stresses me out. Because a lot of the things, not everything in there, but there's certain things that we can all identify with, which is why the movie is so timeless and popular throughout the years, is because it's kind of a caricature of what we all feel like every Christmas season. It's not just the movie. The Christmas season in general tends to stress people out. It's not just me. A lot of families and individuals in the Christmas season, don't feel like it's the most heartwarming time of the year. We have pockets when we feel like that, when, we're alone or driving and looking at Christmas lights, but then the rest of the year can be kind of stressful. And that's being silly, but the whole point of the Christmas season is to remember the birth of Christ. and we do that and we enjoy the beauty of the season, and we connect with one another through generation-old traditions and family traditions and things like that. And for many of us, it can bring us comfort and rest, and it can re-energize us. But the problem is when we get that re-energizing, the energy that we get from that is usually spent on the season instead of spending it on one another. And for many people, the season becomes kind of a marathon, and we find ourselves just pushing through. Oh, just got to get through the holidays, got to make it to Christmas, then we can slow down and whatever. And I saw something the other day, a meme the other day that said something to the effect of being an adult pretty much just means saying, well, things should slow down next week over and over until you die. But for many of us, it's kind of like a marathon. We get caught up in trying to make the food and get the presents and get the parties and make everything perfect, and organize families, organize get-togethers, or organize get-togethers that avoid families or certain family members, or sometimes getting together with family can be extremely stressful. Sometimes it might be easier to go in the ring in an ultimate fighting match or a boxing match rather than sit around a dinner table with some of our families, But no matter what it is, a lot of times we can find our energy waning, and we don't really get to enjoy it as we wish we could. Now, consider some of these statistics. According to a survey that was done, 77% of people say they have a very hard time relaxing during the holidays. 77%. And usually they end up feeling more stressed and more worn down than they did before. And I don't know that is necessarily a surprising statistic for us. But the study went on to talk about why the holidays can be so stressful. And the first thing that the study found was that the extra financial strain that the holidays bring on causes the most stress. The extra financial strain. And it's so funny because we buy gifts, things that people don't need, for people that we love, but then we don't stop there. We get gifts, try to get gifts for everyone that we know in our workplace, in our the cashier at our favorite grocery store, whatever. You know what I mean? So some of us go really all out for gift giving. But it can bring an extra financial strain, and every year we feel like we have to do more, and this is something I didn't really get until I became a parent, and then a parent again and again. And so 3 kids now, my wife and I are always trying to find ways that we can give gifts that are more meaningful instead of just like, okay, what do you want? And then just shelling out the cash for it. And then, who knows if they'll even still be interested in whatever. Who knows if it'll still be meaningful to them a week after Christmas or a month after, And then there's the stress of trying to get gifts for everyone else. The stress of giving gifts. Now, if your love language is giving gifts, you're probably like going, I don't know what you're talking about. I love this, You might have an advantage over the rest of us. But for those of us that don't have that amazing gift of giving gifts, of just automatically knowing what gifts to give, who don't express love that way but express it in different ways, this can be really, really stressful. Birthdays, anniversaries, Christmas can be very, very stressful to those who aren't necessarily have the talent of giving gifts. But that was the second thing that they said was stressful. So extra financial strain, number 1. Number 2, finding gifts for everyone. And then the third one that stresses people out is uncomfortable family situations. Now, anytime I've been in a church where they talk about that, usually people nod their heads and go, because everybody's got that weird, crazy uncle or that irritating mother-in-law or whatever. Not all mother-in-laws, not all uncles are crazy. I have a great mother-in-law, But anyway, what I'm trying to say is that we've all got that one relative that everybody knows don't mention fill in the blank, around that person. And if you don't have that relative, it might be you. So that is extremely stressful. But see, most, or 67%, seem to be placing unnecessary pressure on themselves to produce the perfect holiday. And the study noted that these people that reported this, they said that their schedules become jam-packed during the holidays, and they characterized their typical holiday season as chaotic. Just chaotic. And now, I don't know if you feel that way. Or maybe you do. It's just that, when there's a year between these holidays, sometimes we forget about the stress, and we can't wait for Christmas. And then when Christmas rolls around, it's over before you can enjoy it. And then you're like, what happened? It went by so fast this year. It goes by fast every year. Well, it seems like it went really fast this year. No, it's just that way every year. We just forget because a year passes, and with time deadens our stress response, and we because we always love to glorify the past. So we forget these things, and every year rolls around, and we get excited for the season, and then we just don't enjoy it. We don't enjoy it. So it makes it very difficult. And a third of all the respondents of this study said that they flat out just don't enjoy the holidays at all anymore. And almost half said that they would rather stand in line at the DMV than deal with holiday stress. That's pretty extreme. And some even said that they'd rather sit on a long airplane ride next to a crying child than deal with the holiday stress. So all in all, the study ended, and it says that with this, it said 88% of their respondents believe that the holidays are the most stressful time of the year. But Christmas isn't supposed to be the most stressful time of the year. It's supposed to be the most wonderful time of the year. It's the most wonderful time. Come on, people. Come on. Most wonderful time of the year. And we've experienced this as well, like I said, since we've had kids. And each year I find myself saying, wow, I need a vacation from this holiday. It just wasn't as meaningful as it was when I was younger. And then you add on top of that the church life and the duties of a pastor, and it can make the Christmas season darn near impossible to fully enjoy. So usually I've started a tradition long ago that every year around after Christmas and around the New Year's, I take the duration of my kids' Christmas break, however long they have off, I take that off, so that I can make sure that I can relax, and I take a week and a half, or 2 weeks, however long it happens to be each year, and then I head back. But without a show of hands, just ask within yourself, how many of you have ever felt this way about the holidays? How many of you have felt that the times that should be the most beautiful, the most wonderful, the most meaningful, the most joyous time of the year to you and your family or your people end up being the most opposite? Where the expectations of the season choke out the warmth and the nostalgia and the ability to create new memories. And if that's you, if you're finding yourself saying, yeah, that's me, even if it's on a little level, a tiny bit, you're in good company. So here's what we're doing. Last year we did this. We talked about this idea of slowing down and doing Christmas in Slo-Mo, if you will. We talked about it last year, and probably it was one of the top 2 sermon series that I got the most positive feedback from last year. And so I wanted to kind of revise it and do another version of it this year. And last year I had made a promise to myself that I would refuse to let anything steal the joy away from the season. And I wanted to enjoy every moment with my wife and my kids and my extended family and my church family. And that means that meant that I had to slow down a little bit. And I did that, and I had one of the best Christmas seasons I've ever had as an adult last year. And so I wanted to do that again this year, and I wanted to draw everyone into that and encourage everyone with the words that you don't have to fill in the blank. Whatever it is that's the most stressful to you, whatever it is that keeps you from enjoying the season fully, whatever it is that puts your chest in a state of tightness, whatever that is, you don't have to. You don't have to do that. We can curate our own traditions. We can make new traditions with our family and our loved ones and our friends and our church family. We can make new traditions. We can make new things that you say, well, how do we do that? It's simple as tapping into things that are meaningful. What are the things that are actually meaningful to us? Because God hasn't called us to bend over backwards, to just stress ourselves out to make things amazing. He wants us to experience meaning and joy and holy moments and memories together. So, as we start this new series, Christmas in Slo-Mo 2.0, Slo-Mo, of course, means slow motion. In the next few weeks, we're going to be talking about slowing down. And specifically, each week, we're going to talk about the ideas of spending less and giving more and loving all. But I just want to encourage you with one short thing this morning. And as we slow down, instead of bowing down to the rat race, the money, the excessive spending, the endless tasks to be carried out in the name of tradition, lights, decoration, baking, planning, entertaining, cleaning, whatever. Again, some of you might think those things aren't stressful but are exciting. Well, that's great. The key is not to eliminate everything or anything. It's to find for each individual person, maybe each individual family, what's the thing that stresses you, and then change how we approach that. So when we stress ourselves, when we try to do Christmas in fast motion, just time lapse, we're putting an insane amount of value and worth in things. And you could say it this way, we're worshiping the wrong things. I always remind people at Christmas time, because people get, Christians, we can be really weird. All throughout the centuries, and we've done really ridiculous things, and usually it all boils down to missing the point. We like to be the gatekeeper of traditions and things instead of getting to the heart of the issue, the real heart of the matter. We miss the point. And so I try to remind people at Christmas every year, Jesus never told us to celebrate Christmas. There is no commandment that demands we celebrate the birth of Christ. There is nothing around us. That was something that the church decided to do for a bunch of different reasons that we're not going to get into. But this is an us thing, you realize. And every year I always hear this lame thing, there's a war on Christmas. People want us to stop saying Merry Christmas and blah, blah, blah. No, they don't. Nobody's ever said that. That is the biggest adventures in missing the point statement ever. First off, again, Jesus never told us to celebrate Christmas. This is an us thing, not a God thing. Second of all, we live in a place where there's not just Christians here. There's many, many, many different faiths. And we can't expect everyone is worshiping the same way we do. So that's what that's based on. Nobody's trying to take Christmas away from us. And even if they did, God is like, whatever, you want to celebrate, fine, I don't care. Are you doing what I've asked you to do? And so we tend to worship the wrong things. We love to worship our routines and our rituals and our traditions and the things that we make, while the things that God has called us to do is over here. And the things that God has called us to do have never changed. And those things that God has called us to do are simple. It's live a life of worship. And living a life of worship, as defined by Scripture, is living a life that's constantly growing and that's constantly loving others and is constantly trying to work to make sure that everyone is experiencing those same opportunities for growth and love in community that we enjoy. It's simple. But what makes it complicated is us. Because we worship the wrong things. Worship is a combination of two words, worth and ship. We're putting worth in the wrong things. You could say it this way. The actual Greek word for worship is the word proskuneo, and it's a picture. The picture it is that the Greek word gives is like a dog coming to lick its master's hand. That's the literal translation of the word that we get worship from in the New Testament. And so we're drawing near to show affection and to give worth to the wrong things many times. Our intentions are good, so don't. I'm not shaming anyone. This is just diagnostic. This is prescriptive. This isn't shaming anyone because I'm right in there, man. But things and events and parties, aesthetics, the grandiose and the spectacular. There's nothing inherently wrong with those things. It's just that when we try to put this pressure on ourselves to make everything bigger and bigger and bigger, the high expectations that we put gives the pressure and the stress and the anxiety that we don't need. And sometimes even when we tell the Christmas story itself, the details have been changed so much that we try to make it sound like this huge event with fireworks and angels singing and the baby was born, and all of a sudden at that moment that the baby was born, these wise men, these kings show up, and then these shepherds are there, and it's this. Our nativity scenes are they all try to illustrate this, but it's not how it went. It was very, very much not how it went. Those of you that have given birth, does that sound like fun to you? To have the whole wagon train in there going, yay! Get out of here! Our nativity scenes in our movies, the way that it's depicted, it makes it about the fireworks instead of about the meaning, the quiet beauty of a God putting aside all of this God's divinity. To not charge in on a war horse with the rod of authority, with demanding laws and demanding everyone submit and obey, but a God putting it all down and relating to us in our humanity in the most vulnerable way that we know. So how do we escape the temptation to bow to the spectacular and be present with the season? We can look at the scriptures. I won't read the whole passage, but the scriptures, there's a passage in Matthew chapter 4, and it's in verses 1 through 10, and it's a story that after Jesus is baptized, she didn't need to be, but he chose to be, which is a whole other story. He goes out into the wilderness to fast and to pray and to prep himself for the beginning of his ministry. And as scriptures say, there's this adversary that is translated the Satan, or Satan. And whether or not that was the figurehead of evil, the person of Satan, or just some other version, because the word just means adversary, what that was, it's this thing, this entity, this person, whatever, comes and tempts Jesus. And it tempts him in a few different ways. And it says, it tempts him by, he's hungry and he says, hey, there's some stones. Tosses him a stone. Turn it into bread. No, you can do it. Come on, do something spectacular. He said, no, I'm not going to do that. And he quoted scripture at him. He said, no, I won't do it. And then this adversary took him on the highest temple, the place in the temple, and, which was very significant. There's a reason why I took him there on the temple and overlooking all the cities. And he said, "This is all yours. Put your worship in me." And Jesus said, "No, I'm not going to do that either." And he ends the passage with a statement in verse 10. And Jesus says, "Get away from me, for it's written, worship the Lord your God and serve him only." And that's the antidote. Worship God only. Put your worth in God only. Put your sense of meaning and your sense of life and worldview in the divine. And that's the first step of experiencing. This is the first thing we can do to experience a meaningful holiday season. Instead of putting our worth into other things, spending more, a lot more than usual, instead of trying to love others through giving trivial things to everyone we know, instead of prioritizing decorum and tradition over connection, instead of forgetting that not everyone celebrates as we do, everything hinges on keeping our connection to this divine and grounded in the Spirit. And so I want to encourage you to resist this push-pull temptation this holiday season. I want us to all take it seriously and figure out how do we walk through these next few weeks in such a way that this is the most heartfelt, meaningful time that we've had in our adult life at Christmas time. Not in a big way, unless that's your thing, but a meaningful way. The most meaningful, connective way. And the way we do that is we begin by remembering that it's all about an attitude of worship. Because the way we spend and give and love will radically change if our heart is in a place of worship. And this can't be something we do out of obligation. It's something we have to do from our heart. At the Christmas narrative, you can see how the central characters express their worship in many different ways. Mary was moved to sing a song out of gratitude to God. Joseph obeyed and followed God's plan. The shepherds stopped their work to go find and worship the Christ child. The Magi confronted anything that stood in the way of worshiping the one true God. Mary's cousin Elizabeth opened her home as an act of hospitality. See, doing in Christmas in Slo-Mo means that we start the season off with the reminder to keep the heart of God, the heart of the divine, at our hearts, at the center of our hearts. And it's a call to focus less on the exciting and more on the meaningful. So here's what we're going to do each week. Each week we're looking at one of those things, and we're going to kind of the same thing we did last year, but in a little bit of a different way. And we're going to look at one thing that can help us slow down each week. One reminder, because if you're like me, you're going to need a reminder, because I start to slip, I start to get pulled in. I take the bait, the culture pulls me in. It happens to all of us. So each week it'll just be a little reminder. So we'll talk about that each Sunday. But then also on Wednesday nights, we're going to be, I mentioned this earlier in the announcements, each Wednesday night we're going to be doing a small group after supper down in the fireside room, and that will be kind of unpacking a little bit further some of the things that we talk about on Sunday every week. So it'll work together. And if you came to this last year, it's actually new content and slightly different this year. So it's building on last year. So although the topics are the same, there's all new videos on Wednesday nights, and there's all new discussion questions, and so it's the same, but it's different. So don't feel like, well, I went to it last year. It'll encourage you some more this year. So he's doing also a version. Kent is also on Sunday mornings doing a version of this curriculum with the kiddos upstairs. So they'll be learning the same things as well. And so it's my prayer time that together this Advent, it'll help remind us to get away from the rat race and slow down a little bit more. And do Christmas in slow motion.
Come, O come, Emmanuel, and ransom captive Israel that mourns in lowly exile until the Son of God appears. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. O come, thou day spring, come and cheer our spirits by thine advent here. Disperse the gloomy clouds of night, and death's dark shadows put to flight. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. Come, thou wisdom from on high, and order all things far and nigh. To us the path of knowledge show, and cause us in her ways to go. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. O come, desire of nations, bind in one the hearts of all mankind. Bid thou our sad division cease, and be thyself our King of peace. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. Oh, rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. Shall come to thee, O
We hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Belgrade Online. If it was life-giving and encouraging to you, please let us know by visiting our giving page at baumc.org/give. Thanks again for watching and have a blessed week.